Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jalen. Today I got a notification that it has been a year since Shanda, Vander and Paul Ferguson were arrested and there was some justice for Timothy Ferguson. Timothy is a person that I will literally never forget. His case is something I think about often. I will never forget about Timothy Ferguson, and so I just wanted to talk about his case. So, Timothy Ferguson was 15 years old when he was found deceased, weighing 69 pounds. He was surrounded by soiled adult diapers, cameras. There was clearly something wrong immediately when the paramedics came and found him. His mother, Shanda vander is who was supposed to be taking care of him, and he had an older brother, Paul Ferguson, who was 19 at the time, who was heavily involved in everything that happened to Timothy. Timothy was being abused for months, but the last 24 hours of his life are notably horrific. Paul had sent text messages to Shanda telling her how upset he was at Timothy, how Timothy was asking for support and shaking and it annoyed him, and how Timothy had soiled himself and that Paul was really pissed off about it. And so Shanda said, well, punish him by giving him an ice bath. So Paul takes frail, I don't even know how else to describe it, 69-pound Timothy, brings him to the bathroom and puts him in an ice bath. He remained in this ice bath for 9 hours. At one point, Timothy was very incoherent, and so Paul told this to Shanda. And so Shanda told Paul to go get some pizza rolls, to go to Timothy, to hold it in front of him, and if Timothy reached for it, to pull it away. Because if he could reach for that pizza roll, then he's lying about being incoherent, that he's over-exaggerating, that he must be fine. That is what she told him to do, to test him, to a starving child. And that is exactly what Paul did. Eventually, Shanda gets home. They take Timothy out of this bath and they put him into his room. His room was a closet with a tarp on the floor. Why a tarp? Because he was constantly having urinating problems. He was constantly going to the bathroom on himself. Why? Because he wasn't allowed to use the bathroom. When he was allowed to use the bathroom, he was given a minute to do so. So yes, when you tell someone they can't go to the bathroom, eventually they're going to go no matter where you have them. And that really pissed them off. Shanda then starts to berate him. She is being awful to him, telling him that he owes her the biggest apology. She starts to notice that Timothy is having very labored breathing. And so at one point she covers his mouth with her hand and tells him that he does not need to breathe like that, like to stop breathing that way. She leaves, and this is all on camera, and detectives talked about watching how his chest was rising and lowering, and then eventually it never rose again. He literally died on camera. So some time passes and Shanda and Paul call 911 and tell them, hey, there's an unresponsive child. We're moving him out of his bed. He was never in a bed. They were actually just putting some clothes on him and thinking about what they were going to tell the police. Shanda and Paul tell the police that Timothy was on a hunger strike, that things were difficult. He had to move from his dad's house to live with Shanda. The father figure he had for a while, Shanda's husband at the time, had had a stroke, so he moved out. So there were just big things going on in Timothy's life that he was really struggling with. It didn't take long for the police to walk inside and see a horrific scene. They saw cameras, motion sensors, locks on the refrigerator, locks on doors. Timothy didn't have a bed anymore. It was so clear that something awful was happening to this child. And so 2 days later, Shanda was arrested, and then shortly after, Paul was arrested. Now, between the time that Shanda was arrested and then Paul, when Paul was still free, he literally did a live stream where he basically was just like, yeah, it's sad my brother died, but you know, everything's gonna be okay. Pray for us. Like he did nothing wrong.
Just says it live. Okay. Yeah, I got it. Hey everybody. Just figured I'd send a quick check for y'all, but we're doing good right now. I just dozed off on the couch unintentionally, and I forgot to give a quick check for today. But yeah. Oh, when I can't actually get in contact with you guys, I'll probably post a quick check like this. For those of you who aren't aware, my little brother has passed away, and my mother is currently in the custody of, well, I'm not sure if it's I don't know. it's a lot to deal with, but right now we're doing good. We're fine. But if I can't actually like Facebook you guys like with live because I don't have my phone and I don't know how to access my stepfather's, I'll post a quick check to let you guys know everything's going on.
Paul ends up taking a plea agreement because he wanted a shortened sentence, and he testified against his mother and he spilled everything. He said exactly what was happening and what role they played in it. Paul talks about all the different forms of punishment that they gave Timothy, notably starving him. But when they would feed him, they often gave him bread with hot sauce on it. Bread with hot sauce, and not just any hot sauce. The hottest hot sauce that you could find is what they were giving this child, you guys. They would also do the ice baths. They would punish him with physical punishments, like having him do wall sits overnight, and they would have a camera on him to make sure that he was constantly doing it. And if he stopped, they would add more time. They were locking him in rooms. At one point, Shanda asked Paul if they should pour the hot sauce on Timothy's private parts. They would have Timothy run up their patio stairs, and she would make Paul chase him, so he was forced to run faster out of fear. The worst part about all of this is Timothy was not supposed to be with Shanda. He legally was not supposed to be with Shanda, and he just period should not have been with her. So basically, Timothy and Paul's biological father, he had custody of the children because of a CPS case that happened years before. Timothy's father and Shanda were married at one point. Obviously, they had these children together, and in I believe 2009 or between 2009 and 2012, there was this CPS investigation, and Shanda knew that they would terminate her rights if she didn't voluntarily give up her rights to custody. So she gave up her rights, and then they ended up giving her 3 hours a month of supervised visitation with the children. That's all she was supposed to get. But when Timothy was 15, his father said, "I can't deal with it anymore." He called Shanda. He said, "Listen, I can't do anymore. I cannot take care of Timothy anymore. His needs are out of my realm of being able to handle. I need you to take him, or I'm going to hand him over to the state." And unfortunately, Shanda said yes. If she would have just said no, it would have been devastating to see a child just be relinquished at 15 from his own parents. But Timothy would be alive. He would be living a life right now. He should be an adult by now where he could have left Shanda's home, but he never got that opportunity. Paul and Shanda are equally as responsible. I know people like to say that Paul has less culpability because he is a child. He was an adult at the time. Period. He's an adult. He had mental evaluations done in court that prove that he is well intelligent enough to understand right from wrong, and that what he was doing was wrong. There were even times that he was texting Shanda saying, "Hey, look how skinny Timothy is." I've seen that picture, by the way. It is horrifying. I will never forget that picture. It's awful. And he texted it to Shanda saying, "Hey, maybe we should feed him." Shanda didn't care. And you know what? Paul didn't care enough either, because seconds later he was texting about how he wanted to hurt Timothy because he was so annoyed. I will never understand how anyone could treat a child that way, let alone your own child. And I will never understand how your mind can be so sick to do those things to a child. To a child. I literally will never understand. I don't get it. I can't fathom it. And now they're just in prison living their best lives. Paul has a girlfriend, or he did the last time I checked, that he talks to on the phone all the time, baby girl. And Shonda's she's fine. No one's messing with her. No one's giving her the Gabriel Fernandez mom treatment. She's just living her life. If you see something, say something. Say something for the Timothys that are out there right now. There are children right now that we are going to find out about later. All of these awful things that are happening to them right when you're watching this video. I mean, really, people need to think about that. Think about the fact that this is happening in this moment while I'm talking, and when you see this, it is happening. And people, they don't call for whatever reason. They don't want to get into it. They're thinking, oh, like maybe I'm crazy. Be crazy. Be crazy. Let it be wrong. Let it be wrong. Instead of letting it be right and not doing anything about it. Anyway, sorry. It really just is very upsetting. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I will be posting frequently on here again, especially now with everything going on with that other app. I miss YouTube, and it's just a little bit like harder for me to film the long form content, but I do miss doing it. So Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe, and let me know what type of videos you want to see from me or certain cases. I'd be happy to do it for you.